Facing unsustainable pressure from his own party, President Joe Biden deciding to exit the race, announcing he will not seek a second term. Calls for him to step aside have been growing since his disastrous debate performance in late June. From the start, the president speaking with a raspy voice, at times stumbling and trailing off, unable to finish his thought.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Even on the issues at the heart of his campaign, like abortion rights.
I supported Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state.
The performance sparking panic within the party, raising questions about whether the 81-year-old had the stamina to beat Donald Trump and govern for another 4 years.
There was a big problem with Joe Biden's debate performance.
But the president and his team adamant this was just a one-off. In an interview with George Stephanopoulos a week later, Biden defending his performance.
You and your team have said you had a bad night, but But your friend Nancy Pelosi actually framed the question that I think is on the minds of millions of Americans. Was this a bad episode or the sign of a more serious condition?
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted. I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
Many Democrats questioning if Biden had the stamina for a second term.
I have medical doctors travel me everywhere, every president does, as you know. Medical doctors, some of the best in the world, travel me everywhere I go. I have an ongoing assessment of what I'm doing. They don't hesitate to tell me if they think there's something wrong.
I know you said you have an ongoing assessment. Have you had a full neurological and cognitive evaluation?
I get a full neurological test every day with me. And I've had a full physical. I had, I've been at Walter Reed for my physicals. Yes, the answer is.
I know your doctor said he consulted with a neurologist. I guess I'm asking a slightly different question. Have you had the specific cognitive tests, and have you had a neurologist, a specialist, do an examination?
No one said I had to. No one said, they said I'm good.
Biden saying only divine intervention could force him out.
You sure?
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Look, if the Lord Almighty came out and said, Joe, get out of the race, I'd get out of the race. The Lord Almighty's not coming down.
But it wasn't enough to quell concerns. The calls from Democrats for him to step aside growing to a steady stream.
I salute President Biden. I just feel that it's time for him to step aside if we are to be able to protect what he allowed us to gain in 2020, which was a victory for democracy, but he delivered us from Trump then. He could be delivering us to Trump this year.
But the president doubling down.
You made me the nominee. No one else, not the press, not the pundits, not the insiders, not donors. You, the voters, you decided. No one else. And I'm not going anywhere.
Determined to prove his doubters wrong, Biden hitting the trail hard and facing the press.
I'm not in this for my legacy. I'm in this to complete the job I started.
But despite his best efforts, the pressure growing. Soon, top Democrats, even allies and close friends, pushing him to exit the race.
I do not think he is the best person to go into this election. I think if he is our nominee, I think we lose.
One by one, party leaders Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and even the powerful former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, privately and bluntly sharing their concerns directly with the president. If he stayed at the top of the ticket, he could drag down Democrats and hurt their chances come November. The president then forced off the trail by a COVID diagnosis, reckoning with his political reality. It's the job he'd spent a lifetime working toward, more than a half a century in Washington, earning a reputation as a lawmaker with friends on both sides of the aisle, a man who led with empathy after enduring so many personal tragedies, including the loss of his first wife and their young daughter, and later his beloved son, Beau. In 2020, Biden felt an obligation to run, spurred by Trump's response to white supremacists marching through Charlottesville, Virginia.
But if we give Donald Trump 8 years in the White House, he will forever and fundamentally alter the character of this nation. who we are, and I cannot stand by and watch that happen.
Biden running as a transitional president.
Look, I view myself as a bridge, not as anything else. There's an entire generation of leaders you saw stand behind me. They are the future of this country.
After a hard-fought campaign, Biden beating more than 24 Democrats to become his party's nominee and quashing Trump's re-election bid.
The people of this nation have spoken. They've delivered us a clear victory, a convincing victory, a victory for we the people.
Sworn in on that inauguration day, the weight of being commander-in-chief not lost on him.
The one thing that is real, that is different, I feel comfortable with it, but is you're the last guy in the room.
Yeah.
You decide, is the decision I'm about to make, will that cause war? Will that cause conflict? The decision I'm about to make, is that going to hurt people? Is it going to help people? That's the part that is different.
On Election Day, Biden returned to his childhood home in Scranton, Pennsylvania, leaving a note on the wall, "From this house to the White House, with the grace of God." His first term marked by historic challenges, the global pandemic, historic inflation, and the wars in Ukraine and the Middle East. But Biden also accomplishing major legislative successes, the bipartisan infrastructure bill and the Inflation Reduction Act. Biden achieving record low unemployment while in office, and often touting his efforts to lower prescription drug costs and tackle student debt. In 2023, announcing he would run again, Biden asked voters for more time to get the job done.
We, you and I, together, we're turning things around, and we're doing it in a big way. It's time to finish the job. Finish the job.
But those concerns about his age persisting, the inevitable march of time, a challenge he could not overcome. The senator who came to Washington at just 29 years old, now choosing to walk away after just one term, the oldest president to ever serve, making the difficult decision to pass the torch to the next generation.